Not only was that untrue, but it was also defamatory.
Let's have that discussion, let's have that debate on campus.
I'll say that again because someone coughed.
I think you need some context. Before I saw information around the upcoming election, I didn't even know we had a rector at the University of Glasgow. Turns out the rector chairs the university court, think board of directors, and represents student concerns to the management. It's a pretty influential position. They have the chance to really push for positive change. The rector's elected by students every 3 years, so whoever wins the upcoming election will hold the position till 2027. The election's being held through the U of G Life app on Monday the 25th and Tuesday the 26th of March. It'll use the single transferable voting method where you get to rank the candidates in order of your choice. If the election is close and your first choice candidate can't win, your vote is transferred to your second choice, and so on if necessary. So only rank candidates you'd be happy with to prevent someone you don't like getting your vote. Speaking of the candidates, there are 4 of them. The current rector, Lady Rita Ray, who's standing for re-election, Dr. Hassan Abu Sitha, a surgeon, Susie McCabe, a comedian, and Paul Sweeney, a Labour MSP. Here's what you need to know about each of them. Dr. Hassan is a surgeon who did his medical degree at Glasgow. He's worked as a trauma surgeon during wars across the Middle East, including during the current conflict in Gaza. He also performs plastic surgery out of a few private clinics in London where he lives. His manifesto is all about Gaza, promising to pressure the university to condemn Israel's genocidal war in the region, and to call for the university to divest from the arms trade. As he later explained, he would also push for change on issues like student poverty and housing shortages. Susie is a Glasgow comedian. An electrician by trade, she's also worked in construction and hospitality. She uses her manifesto to keep talking about herself, but her key promises are to reduce barriers to getting into university and to improve student support. She also revealed more policies later, including improving accessibility in older buildings and demanding change on the affordability of education. Lady Ray is a judge and the incumbent rector. Her manifesto is that she's neutral, that she'll listen to students and voice their concerns. While she does flag gender equality and student safety as important values, she isn't looking to make sweeping changes, but rather to solve problems faced by individual students. The approach of waiting at the sidelines to be contacted, which she's applied during her previous term, is probably the reason I and many others didn't even know we had a rector. It led to accusations that Lady Ray was an absent rector. The Glasgow Guardian, the uni's student newspaper, even put out an article about this a year ago. An article which Lady Ray's campaign called untrue and defamatory. Please don't sue me. Paul is a Labour Party MSP for the Glasgow region. He's also been an MP in the past. After graduating from the University of Glasgow, he went into shipbuilding on the Clyde. That is, he worked on naval frigates for BAE. Being a politician, he knows what to write on his manifesto. He talks about divestment from fossil fuels, being proactive and raising awareness about the role of rector, in part by conducting walkabouts on campus, improving student housing and well-being, and promoting solidarity between staff and students. To let the candidates answer questions directly from the electorate, the SRC hosted a hustings which was streamed on the U of G YouTube channel. As the opening statements began, I realized that neither Dr. Hassan nor Lady Ray had shown up. Both of them were tied up with commitments from their respective jobs. They were each represented by a member of their campaign. During the opening remarks, Paul brought up Lady Ray's reputation.
For the last 3 years, thankfully, students have not felt like the rector has been there for them. Most aren't even aware of the role, and I want to change that.
So did Susie.
Over the last 3 years, you've had an anonymous rector who's achieved next to nothing in your name.
Susie went on to preempt Dr. Hassan by declaring her support for Palestine.
What's happening today in Palestine is nothing short of genocide, and the reactions of the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, and the West in general has been nothing short of disgusting.
Remember, Paul is a Labour Party MSP, so she just indirectly called him out. When asked how they plan to maintain a presence on the university campuses, Lady Ray's campaign implied that she would keep a low profile.
You're not going to see her walking down streets, campaigning, fighting for things, but she'll do the small work that actually needs done.
The candidates were asked how they plan to engage with students whose political views differ from theirs. Lady Ray's campaign said that she would just be apolitical.
Her role as a judge allows this to properly be done. She's done this for years. She's had to be impartial.
Paul said it wouldn't be a problem for him.
Ultimately, as a Democrat, it's about respecting the voice of the students and giving them the agency. And I would be, willing to be directed by the student voice.
Dr. Hassan's campaign pointed out that he's already engaged with the Jewish Society.
The whole point of that meeting was for them to come to an agreement about involving Jewish students and a variety of Jewish voices as well in coming up with a definition of anti-Semitism that does not penalize pro-Palestinian activism.
But then they asserted that everyone agrees with them anyway?
Our agenda and our political statements are clear, and this university's complicity in genocide. And we believe that this absolutely represents the vast majority of opinion on campus.
Essentially, they've doubled down on the opposite of their previous statement. They don't even have the mandate of winning the election yet. It's time for a tangent. Back in February, I attended a meeting run by Dr. Hassan's campaign to try and learn more about the election. It was there that I learned about the rectorial address, an inaugural speech the rector gives after being elected. This speech can be pretty high profile. In the 70s, trade unionist rector Jimmy Reed gave a now famous rectorial address.
A rat race is for rats. We're not rats. We're human beings.
His speech was about social alienation as a consequence of capitalism and generated a significant amount of attention in the press. It's even got its own Wikipedia article today. So it would make sense for Dr. Hassan to use that speech to condemn Israel's actions in Gaza. In a way, that would be on behalf of the university and its students, and justifiably so. He'd have won the election with calling out the war in Gaza as one of his key promises. But until that point, I don't believe his campaign should make claims like the one they did. Back to the hustings. When asked how they would tackle gender-based violence, Susie suggests bringing in speakers to talk about it.
But it's really important, we need to get the organisations in, and what you find is whenever you share lived experiences with people, it has a much more powerful effect to the audience of that than, say, an online module.
She is, of course, referring to the Let's Talk online GBV module, which all students had to complete on Moodle. Do you even remember doing this? For those not in the know, gender-based violence encompasses things like sexual assault and rape culture, which is the normalization and trivialization of sexual violence by attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs. The culture problem starts in schools, which is why I talked about it during my failed political campaign, and some of the worst outcomes, rape and abusive relationships, seem to come into fruition at uni. It's definitely a major problem, and I tend to agree that a Moodle module isn't going to make a dent in addressing it. Taking a slightly different angle, Dr. Hassan's campaign discusses staff training.
Hassan is supportive of the Emily test for gender-based violence, so it's prevention, intervention, and support training for each and every member of staff.
Maybe we need both of these measures. They aren't mutually exclusive. Here's the last interesting thing you need to know. Back in February, Paul came under fire for sponsoring an event at Hollywood featuring several arms manufacturers like Raytheon and Leonardo, who supply Israel with weapons that they're presumably using in Gaza. When asked about this during the hustings, he said,
So the event in question was actually a Scottish Apprenticeship Week event for engineering apprentices, which I was asked to add my name to sponsor about a year ago. It was then subsequently brought to my attention that one of the companies involved in attending that evening may have products that are manufactured in Scotland that are supplied to the Israeli Defence Forces and may well be involved in the war crimes, or alleged war crimes in Gaza, or maybe directly used in that instance. Therefore, once that was brought to my attention, I withdrew my support.
The event was organised by the ADS Group, which the Ferret and the National imply is an arms sector industry group. Surely the aerospace in their name means civilian aerospace, right? Nah, I'm not sure why it had to be brought to Paul's attention that an arms industry focused event had arms companies as is. But I'm also not sure why he didn't stick to his guns. Pun intended. Because this is what he said about university investment in the arms trade.
Do I think that we should employ people in what is the biggest manufacturing industry in Glasgow, making frigates, making ships for our country's self-defence? Then yes. I've said that, you know, if there's a question about investing in the arms industry on campus, let's have that discussion. Let's have that debate on campus.
Take from that what you will. Here's the final scoreboard. All of them would protect reproductive rights and fight gender-based violence. All of them support ethical investment of the university's money, and all of them would call for a ceasefire in Gaza. The main points of contention were Lady Ray's, absenteeism, or alleged absenteeism, Dr. Hassan's intentions to change the definition of anti-Semitism used on campus, some drunken tweets Susie once made, and Paul's links with and views of the arms industry. That was a bit deeper than the surface level summary I was going for, but I hope I covered everything and represented the candidates well. Remember, the vote starts on Monday the 25th of March. If you're a student here at the University of Glasgow and have an opinion on these candidates, you'd better vote, or someone you don't like might end up in one of the top positions in the uni. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to target your Paveway 2 guided missiles at the like button, or feel free to attack me with your F-35 fighter jets in the comments. I'm Robbie Jar, and I'll see you in the next one.